What's up, everybody? Welcome to another race analysis. Today is the last day of Speed Week. We are at College Park. Real quick, we're going to jump into the stats today. We are riding along with our teammate Nick. His FTP is 285. That is 4.5 watts per kg, weighing in at 140. His race age is 28. Fun fact, he loves pancakes. This is a good time. We got Nick in the studio with us today to talk about this race, and we'll bunch over to the race stats. Just at 39 minutes, 16 miles, 24.6 miles per hour average, with a normalized power of 291, average power of 241. Nick, psych is high. This is probably the race that you were looking forward to most, I feel like, with Speed Week, because it has this massive hill that you guys will see shortly, and also the wind was super crazy today.
Yeah, big hill, which is good for me being a smaller rider, and a lot of wind. And then also, I was finally feeling good. Last race of the week, finally feeling good. So
yeah,
but nothing you can do.
And I know you're fighting a little bit of sickness, like coming into it, and this and that. And everyone's got really tired legs. There's a lot of smaller riders, junior riders in this field. And we're off to the races. We jumped over to my rear cam real quick. You can see the front cam at the top. Wanted to give you a perspective of kind of how we attacked this first, 2 laps. Jake and I really wanted to kind of set the tone and pop off as many people as we could. Maybe some people that were caught off guard or started in the back, because this course is pretty technical. There's a really steep downhill off-camber turn that if you didn't pre-ride the course or you don't feel comfortable, me and Jake were going to try and punish people. And you can see in the front cam that I'm moving up on the left and going by a bunch of people. Here's Jake right here, and so we're at the front now. If you look at the rear cam, Nick is on the left side of the camera, just tucking in, and there's a bunch of people in this race. And Jake was feeling good. He was really wanting to set the pace on this downhill right here. And this is a really fun camera angle as we take this off-camber right-hander. And you can see we're starting to gap the back half of the field. Nick is there third or fourth wheel behind a couple of those guys, and we start building the gap. And I didn't realize this was happening, Nick. What were you thinking when you saw us going up the road so fast?
Yeah, I figured we were just going to kind of string it out and keep things fast. And then a gap opened up really quick, and I was like, okay, well, just sit in and see where this takes us. And yeah, the gap kind of just stayed pretty far away, and I was able to just kind of sit in that third or fourth wheel.
Yeah, and we ended up staying away for about 2 laps, and then finally the group catches us. As you guys know, it's way too early for a move like that to go up the road, and with the punchy hill, these lighter climbers can definitely catch up to us. One thing to note while we're jumping into this is the wind is going to be a huge factor today. Coming on this right-hander on turn 1, or technically turn 2, is a massive headwind. How did you deal with that, Nick?
Yeah, so I knew from pre-riding the course, if I sat even behind one rider, I'd basically block all that headwind and could get pretty good speed for little watts. You'll see here I'm basically doing nothing. The whole group's kind of coasting, but I do a little surge to just kind of get up to the front, but there's really not a lot of effort if you just kind of sit behind people because it's downhill.
Yeah, and we were thinking that it was going to be a lot harder, but yeah, you're right. You slot in behind 1-2 guys, and it really helped you save the watts. So right here we got a hard crosswind, and this is a great front camera view of what this off-camber right-hander looks like. And you really have to be on the brakes and then off the brakes really fast, or you'll start getting gapped. Nick, you took that corner perfectly, especially getting on the inside of somebody and not getting gapped coming through there. All right, we're 4 minutes in, guys, so you get a look at the track map. We have all the watts up for you, all the data, and sure enough, we're only a couple laps in, and here come the lighter weight riders on the attack. I don't want anything to do with this, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I see these going, and I'm thinking it's too early. It's something I want to be a part of, but it's a bit too early for me. doing 500 watts, heart rate's getting up there already, and I'm just not settling in like I want to. I know later in the race that those are moves I want to be a part of, but right at this moment, I'm just trying to let those go and sit in and wait it out a bit more.
Yeah, I think that was a good strategy. I was trying to sag climb a little bit. I'm a little bit heavier rider. Definitely, I'm not a hill climber by any means. So wanted to. Anytime there was an attack, I was just like really worried that is this the time where I need to be more patient, or do I get gapped off right here? All right, pushing ahead. Just a few minutes in. Ahead of that, we're 6 minutes in now, and Nick, you are it's getting a little strung out. You catch a good wheel, but you're about to pop off a little attack right here. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so even though I just said I didn't really want to attack, I got a little antsy. Things start stringing out here. I see this gap open up that I don't want anything to do with. Kind of pick up my speed and want to move up a few positions, and then kind of right here, I end up basically just finding myself on the front by accident and figure I'll take that tactical turn at speed and give it a go and see where it takes me, thinking maybe it's a good time for a counter. Nobody's going to want to bring me back, and I can just stay away. Thinking maybe people won't want to pull into a headwind, bring me back. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, dude, you rip this turn right here. I love it. It was super awesome. 32, 33 miles an hour on that turn. That is about the max speed that I know our group took that. I want to say that was pretty similar, if not spot on, to what me and Jake took it on lap 1. So really fun. Yeah, I saw you do this, and I was like, man, it is early. I was like, but who knows? Like, this is a course tailored to the smaller rider with the wind and everything. There's definitely going to be a breakaway, and I was like, hey, shoot your shot. We told ourselves we wanted to be more active in this race because we had some some other misfortunes all throughout Speed Week, and so we really wanted to like make a presence known. All right, pushing ahead, 15 minutes in, and we're about to have a couple different attacks right here. Here goes a yellow on the left with a DDP rider on the right, kind of making some moves. This turn, I mean, you can see 600 watts out of that turn right there, and it just gets so congested because everybody wants to be up front into this downhill.
Yeah, and I saw that yellow guy going, and he's kind of a marked rider. We know he's really strong. I didn't want him to get anywhere. Saw him getting towards the front in that turn, and that's where I started to just make up a few extra positions, and lo and behold, there he goes right off the front.
Yeah, and am I not mistaken, like is he chasing a guy that's off the front right now? Is there another like DDP rider up the road, or is that a little bit later in the race?
Yeah, so I think there's a rider up the road, and I was never able to see who it was that got brought back, but based off the DDP rider sitting up, I'm guessing it was one of their guys. So they did a really good job, if that's the case, of kind of helping their guy out keep the gap open.
Yeah.
But that definitely opened the gap for the rider in the yellow there.
Yeah, and you can see the alarm bells going off with everyone in the group. I mean, I'm coming around you, which is very uncommon for a stage like this where I'm like, oh no, I need to follow that. Again, we had the yellow kit guy as a marked rider, and you can tell it's getting fast. It's super strung out right here. You definitely want to be on a wheel. Ooh, nice fun pedal strike. And you just want to slot in. And I think you do a great job right here just being patient and keeping a good eye on what's going up ahead and up the road to make sure you're not missing out on anything. But that guy in the yellow does get a gap, and he breaks away. And it might be hard to see right now, but there's another rider that ends up going with him. And Nick, you wanted to be a part of this thing. Perfect little counter right here with the group. I just feel like it was just a little too late and just bad timing on a lot of different avenues.
Yeah, that was basically a counterattack to myself. After I went off the front by myself, got brought back a few laps later, and then didn't really have much time to recover to bridge this move.
Yeah, here's a good view from the sideline of this turn. Super fun of you trying to like bridge up to them, and you just rip it. And you've got a gap, and you do a good job keeping momentum, but they've already let two guys up the road. You can see them way up there, and the group is just too motivated to let you go up the road.
Yeah, and I think if
Your
mind,
your kid's too loud.
it's my kid or my breathing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I figured at worst case, I'm at least going to string it out and keep the pace high and maybe just bring them back, and we can reorganize and try a different attack ourselves or follow another move.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good strategy is, show people that, hey, we're motivated to bring those riders back and see what happens. But they stay away. There's two riders up the road now, and attrition is starting to happen. You can see it's super fast, super strung out. and there's an attack going up the road to counter and chase down the leaders. But in doing so, those guys got a little overzealous and crashed right off the front. 2 guys did. Good job staying away from the crash, but you had to hesitate. Everyone did really in the back half of this group, and it really punished us to get up this hill. This is kind of where I was like, man, I did not need that crash. Like, it doesn't help anything that they're down or out of the race. It just hurts me having to do 700 watts up this hill.
Yeah, that was tough. It was definitely not free lap worthy, but it definitely made a big impact on the race, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I know a couple of riders did have to veer off course and get off their bike or were involved in the crash, but all of us are now, our alarm bells are going off, and it's super strung out. We're skipping ahead just 1 lap later, and you can see riders entering from the pit on the right. We have Chris Ames from Hot Fly racing right here on the front, entering from the pit. Super strong Cat 2 rider. We race with him on a weekly basis, and he probably got to see how far they were up the road, just standing there in the pit. And there I go on the right. You can see I'm just cooked. Well, Chris Ames is going to come around you on the left, Nick, and in hindsight, you should have followed Chris's wheel.
Yeah, I didn't realize, first off, that Chris had been part of that initial bridge group that broke off. So I wasn't super willing to be on his wheel. I was also trying to hide from the wind a little bit more, but then, yeah, in hindsight, and even right here, I'm like, shoot, should have been on his wheel, should have followed him, and we could have worked together to get back to that bridge group.
Yeah, and his teammate Paul is sitting third wheel in the peloton, and so it's kind of perfect position where Chris just kind of rolls off the front, keeping a fast, steady pace, and he has a teammate slotted at third wheel in the group, getting super strung out right here. And so whenever those guys are done pulling, like, Paul can just set a tempo and either make us react or those guys are just going to go up the road, that's what ended up happening, is like those guys went up the road because there were just multiple tacks in a row, and it hurt a lot of people. I think this is the last lap I stayed on with like 7 to go, and I was popped.
Yeah, and this is where Paul does a really good job. He's on the front, basically controlling the pace where we can't come around him. I think you'll see him basically pull into the headwind at a decent pace. I certainly didn't want to go around that and have to fight that headwind by myself. And that really lets Chris and the other guy that went with him get a good gap.
Sweet. All right, yeah, they're just slotting in, and the DDP rider in front of him too. They have a couple guys up the road, I think at least one, and I could just tell from watching the footage that you wanted to attack right there, and that guy kind of just coming out to the left and checking his shoulder kind of made you lose just a couple miles an hour of speed, and made it to where like your attack wasn't as potent as it could have been.
Yeah, a little bit of slight hesitation, which is something you can't have in a situation like this. And then also, I think I went too early. I should have waited kind of till that road dips to that intersection there. I wasted way too much energy pulling into that headwind by myself. So I probably opened up a gap, but then probably by here it's closed again already.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just one of those things that alarm bells are going off. You're like, the race is up the road. I want to be in there. You were obviously feeling really, really comfortable and really strong at this course. And yeah, when you see the race going up the road from you, you just like, I've got to try something. And just waiting that half lap just killed your attack. All right, pushing ahead. We are 35 minutes in. I believe we're coming to 2 to go right here, and we're going to play out these last 2 laps. There are 9 riders up the road. We are fighting for 10th right here with Nick. And did P10 pay out, Nick, or was it like top 8 or something?
It was top 5, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I knew we had a group, and there was another couple guys up the road. In my mind, it was anywhere from 5th to 15th that I was fighting for, and yeah, I had no idea where I was at or how many guys were up the road. So I just kind of played it like it was, going to be 5th or something like that.
Cool. Well, yeah, and you've kind of just set in these last couple minutes, just set in, covered moves, slotted in, protect yourself. You've gotten your heart rate down really good to right in the 170s, and that's pretty good. This guy's popping on your left. You're going around him, making sure you stay on that wheel. I hate when this happens, like with 2 to go and just the field's just getting obliterated. Like, guys are tired. This week's been long. The courses have been awesome and brutal at the same time. But lo and behold, perfect little move up right there. You stayed patient, and now you're sitting like 3rd or 4th wheel, coming into this downhill section. How are you feeling on these last couple laps?
Yeah, I was starting to feel pretty good. Like you said, heart rate's not low, but tolerable for a race like this. After we just talked about the kind of guys getting gapped off, I knew I didn't want to be towards the back again going in these last laps. If they get gapped off, then I have to basically pull myself into a headwind back to the group. So made that move to get up there. I see things are speeding up, and this is kind of where I'm thinking, all right, how do I win out of this group? What do I have to do? Do I leave it to a bunch finish? Do I go early? Do I go on this hill even? Kind of thinking through that in this moment and making sure nobody goes too early, and if they do, make sure they're marked and I go with them.
Yeah, and I don't think going early is a bad idea, because especially if you can get into the downhill first, like that section's just so fast anyways. And so I thought you did a really good job of just like being patient right here. Let the headwind section play out and be smart. You kind of learned your lesson earlier in the ride by going too soon on the headwind section and being a little bit smaller rider, not having that momentum to carry you away from people. But it definitely slows up right here. You can definitely tell people are kind of just like seeing what's going to happen. DDP rider up there in the front is definitely checking his shoulders. Now people are moving around you. It's about to get fun.
Yeah, and I saw people coming in on my right side and then had people already on my left, and I got pinched in, and then I figured I don't want to get pinched in again at the wrong time, so now's my time to go. And you'll see me kind of come over, just lean over, make sure that this corner is mine, and then take it as fast as I can, sprint out of it, and take that bottom corner at a lot of speed again.
Dude, this was awesome. I thought this was a perfect place to attack. Keep it fast in the downhill right here. So fun last time. And then this section is just, you have a tailwind. Like, they're going to have to put out more watts than you to come around you. You just keep it fast right here. And, your heart rate's getting up. You can start to hear your breathing here in a second. And, how are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty bad. But I knew I kind of had a gap. I didn't hear any free hubs behind me, and I knew this was my only chance. I can't sprint. This is about as high as my power gets, so this is my only chance, and yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you beat the rest of the field, but as you can tell, you got into a crash just over the line. We kind of reviewed the footage, and it just seemed like it was a culmination of things. An uphill finish. I think you ran over a reflector on your rear tire to like bounce you over.
Yep.
And then the rider that you had an incident with was just had so much more speed too, coming beside you. You're okay. Fortunately, the rider you had an incident with is okay as well. We wish him a speedy recovery. Other than that, guys, this is the finish of Speed Week. Hope you guys enjoyed all the videos for Speed Week. I know we had a blast. It was a great time going down there with the team, banging bars with people. The 2-3 field right now in the Southeast is hot. I think we've said it in previous videos, but like the competition that's coming out to these regional races is super good, and it's a great time to be in this like category field and like racing with these up and coming riders, whether they're younger riders or juniors or just guys coming in out of nowhere with some crazy fitness. Other than that, guys, catch you on the next one.